Super bomb survival. Okay. So the super bomb egg, this egg is randomly dropped, simply touch it to receive it. It just blew up, whatever. Egg of golden riches. This egg is spawned when a coin bomb explodes. So coins were, there's little bombs that drop coins all over the map. You could get that. Easy. Scrambling egg of teleporting. This egg randomly spawned, simply touch it to receive it. The egg randomly teleports across the map. Wasn't difficult at all to get it, really. The only problem with eggs on Super Bomb Survival were that they fell in lava, which is really fucking annoying sometimes. Or you needed a special perk to get it, so you had to play the game for a while. So, a great example would be Egg-mageddon. This egg spawns above the disaster area, so you need to jump into the air, which means you have to have a jump perk, but you also have to upgrade it so you can jump high enough, and then you gotta fight with other players to get it. And yeah, that was just a pain in the ass. And then the last man standing egg, this in the last 30 seconds spawned. And then there was Ripaul's game. So, the minigame Leftovers Egg. This game is randomly spawned after the end of a minigame. Simply touch it to receive it. Now, this was only working when the minigames were actually re-implemented. Because when it first started off, the eggs, or the minigames, I keep saying eggs, were gone. The minigames were gone. So, your core feature of your game was immediately ripped out at the start of this egg hunt, which makes no sense at all. You're going to make an egg hunt based around a minigame, but then rip out the minigames and just leave it as a blank area until halfway through and then actually give you the eggs. So if somebody thought that they had all the eggs and all of a sudden this comes out, oh shit, I got to go back in there. The bomb egg, this randomly spawned throughout the map, touch it. When it's not glowing red, beware of the explosion. It was okay. The cracked egg. The egg is spawned after one dies from a bomb egg's explosion. Simply touch it to receive it. Now this is a bit annoying when you have other people around you. Once again, you rely on the Roblox community. You have to bring a friend with you or something. I had lots of subscribers, so I could have asked one of them to come in and say, hey, could you help me with this and blah blah blah. But I still tried to get it independently. So the bomb dropped, you gotta die by it, and then you're gonna drop the egg, and then you gotta run all over, remember where the fuck you were, and then get it. And you got to get over there before somebody else takes it, because not many other people knew how to get the egg at the beginning. The cloud egg, you just jumped on top of the mini games, which was okay when there was an actual mini game, but when it was just a black void, you thought you were going to jump into the void if you got too high. But that's where the cloud egg actually spawned. And then there was the final egg, and this one was the one that also broke alongside the bird egg. So the golden achievement egg, find a crown which is randomly spawned. Oh, what a pain in the ass. Climb up to one of the hills in the corners of the map. A golden egg should be there. Touch him with the crown in your hand to receive it. Now the crown spawn rates were not really that great. They usually spawned around the spawn. That's kind of funny to say. And most people would just hog them, not knowing what the fuck to do with them. Like it says, they wouldn't figure out the riddle, or they wouldn't know where to take it because they're like, ooh, a crown, maybe this is an egg. Now I got a crown. Somebody else doesn't have a crown who actually knows how to use it. I'm going to walk around for a while, maybe die by a bomb egg. And then when I finally realize, I'm going to say, ah, shit. And that's all the eggs. Like, that's literally all the eggs in the egg hunt. And those are my little problems with them. So most of the eggs, you either need to do something that would have been, really cool if it didn't rely on the Roblox community not being an asshole, and just assume that they wouldn't be dicks, or, there wasn't conflict. Because a lot of these games contained a lot of conflict. Super Bomb Survival, you gotta run around the entire map and hope not to die, or Twisted Murderer, you gotta survive a murder while trying to get eggs. Meanwhile, Ripaul minigames, you only died if you just so happened to get killed by a bomb egg. That was about it. And now, I'm just going to take a little bit of time. I know I'm up to 40 minutes. It's like probably one of the longest videos I've ever made. I don't know if I'll split it into parts. Probably not. I'm going to talk about the games. Now, I've already talked about the games already just a bit. I've mentioned them while I was talking about the eggs, but I have a few problems with the games themselves that I really want to highlight, and I don't want to see happen next time on the 2016 egg hunt. So let's talk about Super Bomb Survival first. I made a little text document here. So at times my credits would be stuck at 666. I could only assume that would be a joke and somebody was screwing around with Cheat Engine. you would get stuck in holes and stuff like that. Now, a lot of my complaints with the games, mainly Twisted Murder and Super Bomb Survival, was that it was hard, but not hard in a way that would best suit an egg hunt, if that makes any sense. Like, if you're gonna make an egg hunt challenging, it's probably best to make the eggs hidden, you know, really good. Like, hide them in a waterfall, hide them in a cave, or something like that. Not through, you know, running around and getting stuck in holes for time, or, you know, at times, and not being able to get out unless you had a certain perk, or you had to wait for the stuff around you to blow up when you're on a time limit. Because Super Bomb Survival and the Twisted Murder had you on a time limit to find eggs. And that is complete bullshit. There should not be a time limit to find eggs. But the reason there was a time limit, and the reason that barely any effort or any, you know, remodeling went into both of these games, was because if they were to remodel these games, it would basically mess it up for people who actually wanted to play those games. So while this an egg hunt is going on, people are going to want to play the Twisted Murder as in the actual game rather than go around and hunt. Now, I know when Ripaul reintroduced his minigames, people were playing at times, yes, but if you're going to go to developers to make these games, it's probably best that they either open up a separate place with the same, you know, like, just make a model of your entire game and put it in another place. I don't know if that's possible, I'm not the developer. But if that's going to be such a problem, make your version for people who just want to play it, and then make your version for the actual egg hunt itself. It felt like they just didn't want to do that much work, and I know that they had a lot of stuff on their hands, considering what Ripaul says, but still, all they implemented into these games was the eggs, whereas Ripaul was able to make an actual egg hunt. But their excuse for not making an egg hunt was the fact that if you were to do that, you would ruin it for other people who just want to play the game. So just copy it over, and then let people go to the egg hunt, and then let other people go to the actual game itself if they really wanted to play it while the egg hunt's going on. Another big problem with Super Bomb Survival was eggs, when jettisoned by explosions, because of course it's Super Bomb Survival, would end up landing in lava pools, which basically makes them useless. They would just fall in the lava pool. I don't know if they were incinerated or not, but then they would be useless. You'd have to wait all over again. And this brings me back to my whole challenge thing. Like, is it really a challenge to, for these eggs to randomly be thrown into lava? Like, what's the challenge? There is no challenge for me. It's just a random chance of a bomb getting thrown into lava. It's not a challenge to get to there before an egg, or before a bomb explodes the egg into lava, because it's just going to spawn again. A challenge would be something like trying to find a secret entrance, or trying to figure, your way through a maze, or, something that actually has an aspect of an egg hunt in it. Because this was technically a developer hunt. It wasn't an egg hunt, because only one of these 3 games actually represented an egg hunt. 2 of those games couldn't be made into an egg hunt for the crappiest reason I've ever heard. So that's kind of sad, how we go to developers and they can only give us 1/3 of it. And I'll keep saying it. I don't say that it's their fault, considering the time that they were given. But considering that we're going to be going in the direction of developer-made events, I love how as soon as Gordon Rocks brings up that this is the direction Roblox is going, and finally confirms, we get an event like this one. The previous developer-made events were, just as Slingshot Junkie said about communal efforts, okay at best. So, if we can't have communal efforts, and we're going to go to independent developers, and now we're starting to see a decline, maybe, I don't know, I'm just going to assume that the next one may be the same as this egg hunt. If we're going to see a decline like that, are we still going to continue in the same direction of going to developers to make the events? So are we going to get to the point where if there's a giant decline in, the effort put into these developer-made events, will the games team step back in and start making the events, or just do what Roblox has always been doing and say, fuck it, let them adapt to it? Because I'm really thinking of the future here, and if this doesn't go as planned, let's say we run out of developers. Like, this is a really big thing that I want to emphasize, because a lot of games out there have already been done for these developer-made events. There isn't content being produced fast enough to meet these events, from my own personal opinion, because games are being repeated twice already in some events. And, like, are we going to have copycats, or are we going to be, going to games that are pretty much copies of other ones? Like, are we going to have Twisted Murderer in this one, and then the Mad Murderer in the next one? And are we going to get Clone Troopers Murderer in here? But then the funny thing about bringing up Clone Trooper is he actually brought back the 2013 egg hunt and showed us what a real egg hunt looks like. Meanwhile, when 2015 comes along, it's nowhere near an egg hunt. Now, before I sign off, I guess, actually I should probably talk about the other games first. I said I was going to talk about the games. Twisted Murderer. The eggs in this game were... They weren't that great. Some either had to be unlocked by stupid methods, which were usually blocked by the community themselves being an asshole, because we all know how wonderful the Roblox community is. And then there was the eggs that you had to do something specifically for. You had to do certain tasks for. And people were specifically saying that we don't want something like the holiday games where you have to do a specific task. It should just be you finding the eggs because it's an egg hunt. Instead, we got win a round of, Mad Murderer. Or, I think it was like, win the Murder Madness. Like, you're not actually finding the egg, you're just achieving something, and oh, now it's at you. And then there was, actual ones where you had to kill people. So, if you were an innocent, you may have died. So, that means if you are one of the unlucky few to die, and you spawn the egg, you don't get the egg, everybody else around you gets the egg. And I never saw that innocent egg once. Probably because I didn't play the fucking Twisted Murder that much. I don't even have that much footage to show you guys about the whole thing. So you may see repeats up on the screen of the footage. I took, maybe an hour of footage across all the different games. Twisted Murder was one of the least recorded ones. Ripaul's minigames was the most recorded one because, well, it had the most fun in it. It was actually resembling a fucking egg hunt. And now that I'm talking about Ripaul's egg hunt, what were the problems with it? Well, for starters, the mini games themselves were ripped out, which may have upset some people. Honestly, I don't really give a shit. Eggs at times did break, such as the golden egg of achievement and the bird egg, but those were later fixed, as well as the egg of, I believe, minigames leftovers wasn't implemented until the minigames were put back into it. There was times when the lightning egg would get trapped underneath of its tower, and you couldn't get it because you would be killed. Sometimes if you didn't know how to, go with bombs, or you didn't know how to get the bomb egg, you would sometimes end up killing yourself, and then because it's a walking simulator, you have to walk across the map. And finally, there was so many places that there could have been eggs, but weren't. And I'm not going to blame that on Ripaul, considering that it took Roblox 2 weeks to give him the actual assets, for his game. And when I say assets, I mean the eggs. So, if Roblox is only going to give him a limited amount of eggs, and he already has all these hiding places made in advance, where the fuck is he going to put them up? He's going to have to spread them out and stuff like that. And, that's all I have to say about the games. I know I've dragged this out for a really long time, but really, the egg hunt is, I guess, okay at best. I'm just going to quote fucking Slingshot Junkie here. It's okay at best. I'm taking that out of context, but still, this event was okay at best. Just like the holiday games, it was okay at best. And any, previous developer-made event before it. Now, would I compare this, or how would I compare this to the 2014 egg hunt? Well, it came out on time, so I will give it that. It didn't have that many bugs in it. However, they both contained a universe feature in, if you really look at it. Because in the 2014 egg hunt, you would travel around from game to game using these portals, but the game would be inside of one giant portal server. I don't know how to really explain it, but there would be a hub that would lead off into all the other games. Meanwhile, we have 3 separate games here. So you're still going from game to game and having to load up each single one, and that can be annoying at times. Was it laggy? No, at times it wasn't laggy, but the reason it wasn't laggy, this brings me to the next reason, was because the maps were small, excluding Ripaul minigames. So, the big terrain generated maps, which each block, generated that legged, the map, as well as with the buildings and the eggs themselves. And then you come to the last level and there's a bunch of minions and stuff. If you compare all that to the maps in this event, yeah, they were small. Like most of the 2014 Egg Hunt games were bigger than the Super Bomb Survival games and the Twisted Murder games. However, they were about the same size when it comes to Ripaul's game. I think Ripaul's was just a tidbit bigger because there was an actual border around the map with mountains and stuff. And yeah, like, is this really better than the 2014 Egg Hunt? That's what I want to hear from you guys. Do you think that this is better than the 2014 Egg Hunt? And if your answer to that is yes, is it better than the 2013 Egg Hunt? Because the 2014 failed miserably, would you say that this one can be compared to the 2013 one as something that should keep on going and that we should go into the direction of developer-made events? I'm Close Productions. Thank you for watching.